How you doing?
Hanging in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What have you been up to? I'm just down here. I'm downstairs.
Like
Right,
nothing. Like literally nothing for like 50 days. Nothing.
No kidding. So that's why you're not even showing up. You're not even gonna have an excuse or anything.
Just nothing.
Huh.
Just nothing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, have you been online at all? Like for anything?
No. Like I cut everything out. Social. Like I just maybe been on for like 4 or 5 tweets. Like next to no social media. Like barely responding to text, which is pretty normal.
Yeah. Well, that's par for the course for you.
Yeah. No podcast. No work. Just
Okay.
nothing.
So, I noticed something, and maybe I don't know if you're seeing this.
Like
Like
a lot of Legend of Zelda.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I've noticed this on like a lot of like my social media feeds lately. Like a lot of like toe sucking. Is that normal to have like in video feeds, like in reels that show up on your why all of a sudden am I seeing all that?
Are you like a big toe sucker guy? Because
No.
whatever, no judgment here.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I thought maybe is that like why would that start showing up all of a sudden? How does that work?
I don't know, but I feel like you're about to spring me with some sort of image here.
I have nothing. Just a PP1 podcast.
Are you ready?
Are you kidding me? That's what?
Yeah, every so often it happens that Ryan is right.
100% right. Not even a little bit right.
Tucker Pullman, 2 points last game.
No kidding. My man.
Hey, neither does me running shirtless, but that turned out very well.
Welcome to the PP1 podcast.
I'm just now realizing that picture of us shirtless,
it's not the most flattering.
Like my stomach is kind of like, and maybe it's because I'm lurched over to you to the side there. Like it's like dad bod, and then like the hair's like the Oregon Trail, kind of just like we're gonna take a quick turn.
We got some handles working there. It's end of season.
That's true. Yeah. It was end of season.
Yeah,
it was end of season. So that's fair. Welcome to our show. The PP1
that logo is fire. I've only seen that intro like 1 or 2 times. So
well, that's what happens when you show up 1 or 2 times.
Yeah, we take a sabbatical.
I think our guests have seen it more than you have. That's awkward. We're on.
Yeah, it looks good though. You did a good job.
Oh, thank you. It took a lot of hard work.
It's like Neapolitan. Feels like some sort of
Neapolitan. I like that. Now I'm not sure. We could do 1 of 2 things. We could do like this. Ooh.
Oh, inverted.
Yep. Yeah.
So what they call it?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
But then if we do this one, I also have a backup logo.
See, I don't know if I like that as much. It's
okay. I mean, it's there. I'm not forcing it on you. It's there. I did this one too. It's not bad.
Yeah, I like.
It doesn't really go with the color scheme, but
it's very 70s. Yeah.
70s, 80s, which is probably where I'd be going with that. But yeah. So anyway, Crier Media, you can follow us. We're on all their socials, all our socials. Hey, we're on our socials. We're on the show. It's weird. Yeah. It's gonna take me a minute to remember how to do this with you.
It's been a bit.
Yeah,
it's been a bit.
What's been up? You had the whole heart thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's something. So, that feels noteworthy, newsworthy.
Went through successful valve replacement, so open heart surgery. They had to break you open, spread the ribs out, deflate the lungs, put the new valve in, and then it was just rest time after that. For like basically for the first 30 days was like lots of this.
No kidding.
And then the last couple of weeks or so, I think started to stack a bunch of good days in a row. Things just started to turn around. Started rehab like 3 or 4 days ago.
Yeah.
3 days ago, 3 days ago. Yeah. So starting to do the build the cardio thing, the workout on the treadmill. The bones are healing, so like wall push-ups. I'm not in like sternal precautions anymore. I can pick up more than 5 pounds, and yeah, it's good. It's different. It's a different kind of workout than I'm used to. That's for sure.
Yeah, you're not used to like being a freaking gym rat. Now you're just kind of like the rat in the gym.
I'm just like
Please, sir, let me
a
up.
rat. Yeah.
Let me up. By the way, I should probably clarify. I'm not seeing any toe sucking in any of my feeds because that means there's an algorithm that I've been checking out.
Like whatever.
Makes things a little weird. Maybe it's my thing. Maybe it's not. It's not. But maybe it's not.
It's like whatever. Yeah. I don't think you have to explain anything to anybody.
The heart wants what the heart wants. I think it's the saying.
Yeah. Just keep looking up that scene from Devil's Advocate.
No, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'd prefer not to do that. If you want to do some retweeting for me while I'm talking or you're talking, I don't know. You're good at that. Hey, we're live. You should come check it out. Facebook, you can comment. YouTube, you can comment. That's a lot of fun. Come say hi to Ted. He's back. I'm going to force him to be chained to his podcast desk. So we'll probably he's just going to do shows while I'm at work. So he's going to cover literally everything Canucks.
It'd be so easy.
It's pretty much, it's not really hard. Just plug and play. So, I mean, you're back. Very, very happy to see you back. Obviously, jokes aside, I'm glad you're doing well because it's kind of a big deal.
I'm happy that I'm back too. Happy that it went well.
Is your family sick of you yet? Just being there?
I think probably. Yeah, like I'm just always there now. I just like set up shop on the couch some 6-7 weeks ago and I just never left, right?
Yeah. Is there are you at a point now where everyone's like, okay, you can start doing some stuff around the house again?
No.
Are you still able to milk out hey, I had a heart surgery? How long does that go?
Well, the kids were never really like, hey, can you go get me this stuff? Like right off the bat, they were never really like, why? You know? But then after all, because Dad, he went in for the thing and oh yeah, okay, no problem, I can do that. But less of that now, right? I just kind of just get up and get it on my own. It's not as much of a need for me to have to go do it, but yeah, I think I got to milk it for about as long as I possibly could. Yeah, so
it's going to the bathroom strenuous.
Not anymore.
In your heart?
Yeah, pee like a big boy, poo like a big boy, all on my own now.
Right on. Do you have a squatty potty too?
Doesn't everybody?
I don't. I'm tall enough, so I don't need
probably
one.
invest in that, yeah.
Well, I'm just tall enough, so I don't feel that I need.
It's either you're tall or you got a short toilet, one or the other.
It's both, actually. we decided against the tall toilets, and also I'm tall, so it's really a win-win for me.
Have you ever seen that squatty potty commercial?
I feel like I have because I hadn't heard it, but then people said, I'm like, why do I know that?
With the unicorn, there's a unicorn on it, and the unicorn's pooping.
Huh.
And he poops rainbow.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, sometimes I poop rainbow, but that pretty much explains what I've been eating. So that's more of a, we're just going to give you the brass tacks of how my day's going like that. So we have Ted powered up. We added Ted back. So, yeah, there's a lot of hockey. I mean, geez, the Canucks have finished a season. They have gotten rid of Jason King today. Their minor league team is in the playoffs, and they're hosting all 3 games. They play again tomorrow. Spencer Martin got a shutout last night, I believe. So things are going well down there. Christian Rolanen got named the top AHL defenseman this year, so that bodes well for our defense. And we'll get into the meat and potatoes, I think, of where maybe the Canucks are that we didn't think they'd be. We'll talk about some playoffs because obviously
some Dennis Green style.
You know. Yeah. Maybe I don't know the pressers. Did you see any of the Canucks pressers? I know you haven't really seen online stuff. Have you seen?
So I've seen the stuff online. I just haven't. I haven't been like a presence online. Yeah.
Okay. So you're up with it. You're in the know, pretty much. Okay.
Yeah. I've been following along.
Okay. Yeah. Just checking.
I'm on the up and up.
Maybe just you know what, Rise, the Blue Jays. Been following the Blue Jays.
Well, yeah, like you said, the big news today was the Jason King thing, right? So that was a bit crazy. Canucks also released the fact that they're not looking for anybody immediately to replace the power play role, power play coach role. So I don't know if they even have to, right? I mean, that was kind of Talkett's job before.
Yeah, it looks like it got fixed.
Yeah, I mean, they have Sergei Gonchar there. I mean, that guy was the power play in Washington for all those years, right? So, yeah, it's weird. It's going to be weird not seeing King there. He's been around there for I don't know, it's got to be 7, 8 years or something
he
like
was with
that.
Travis Green, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's been around for a long time, so he survived a couple of coaching changes, which obviously bodes well. The Canucks power play, I feel like, has been top 10 for the most part this year, and
Yeah.
it doesn't really. I mean, it doesn't really make me think that it's going to be difficult for him to find work somewhere else. So
Well, I think
we
he's
like
built up enough work, right? Like now
Yeah.
he's an NHL coach. He's not just like a Canucks, graduate kind of thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, which is good. I mean, there's a lot of guys. Look at Alex Burrows, perfect example. I mean, he just kind of came in. Like, don't be surprised if he's a bigger deal in the next couple of years.
Him and well, just I mean, look at the hiring of Marty St. Louis. I mean, that
Oh,
was
he
wild.
fits. Perfect. Yeah, but he fits.
Yeah, I mean, and you just I don't know if you were speaking of following along on social media. Have you seen Marty work in the goalies and shootout practice and stuff like that?
No, what's going on there?
Still got it coming in on a shootout, sort of puts his back to the goalie, goes backhand, like showing him backhand, and then goes quickly forehand, backhand, top corner, like it was nothing at all. And he did so fast. And
I
he's doing
think
it in
it's
track pants and stuff. It's great.
like it's impressive, but it's not like they've forgotten how to play hockey. They're just not at the level that the new guys are at. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
when
I bet you if
Gretzky
Marty
left,
was supposed to play, if Marty played now and he was still featured as some kind of power play specialist, I mean, I'm sure he'd be good for like 40 points in the season. I'm sure
probably.
of it. Yeah.
I mean, Gretzky went out because he was only getting 60 points. Like that's not Wayne Gretzky. Okay, I'm out.
No, it's not going to hang around.
Yeah, I don't need
You're
60.
not just going to be here to set records.
Yeah. Everything's there, Wayne. Novi's just like, good, leave.
Yeah.
He's probably happy. I'm glad he left when he did. I have a chance now. Makes sense. So you saw game one, or maybe you didn't, Boston? Did you see that?
I didn't see the whole thing, but I caught the highlights.
And you saw
Again,
who's calling that series, hey?
no, I didn't. I didn't see who was calling the series.
So I didn't know this until it would have been Monday, so baseball. And I come home and I look at Twitter and I see a picture of John and John in Bruins jerseys.
Oh, weird.
So I thought, I'm like, haha, that's really funny. And I went, sure enough, they are calling the Bruins series, which is absolutely phenomenal. And it sounded great. I listened to the kind of the game recap, like the 30 and 30 or whatever it's called.
Hmm.
And it was really good. I mean, the
It must
Bruins
be weird, right? Like I
oh, it's
remember when I
surreal.
first started like Houston calling Leafs games, it was strange for me. Like they
But I
stole
mean, for
some.
Boston, it's not even Canadian teams, right? Like Jim
Well, I mean,
Newsom, I agree with you for sure.
yeah.
So anyway, they were rocking Bruins jerseys in the booth, which I think is like the ultimate.
Yeah, because I've never even seen them rock Canucks jerseys.
I know, but I think it's the ultimate troll, right? Like they know what they're doing. They know
Yeah.
who's watching. Like they get it. It's like when when John
Dagger Garrett Cheech says goodbye, gives us the farewell wave.
yeah,
Like days later, he's in a Bruins jersey.
yeah.
Say
It's
it
like when they
again.
shaved the mustache and Shorty grew his. Like it's a complete role reversal. They get it.
Yeah.
So good. Anyway, good for them. I think that's hilarious. They call a good game anyway, obviously for our Vancouver Canucks, but they call a pretty good game for the Boston Bruins. So
Do we know who the
cool.
color guy is going to be next year for Vancouver? Have they talked about that? I know there was like rumors. I was talking to uh, a good buddy of mine, Darren. I mean, he was talking about the fact that like Frank Corrado would be like a good guy who just seems to have a big personality and is really good on the mic. And
Yeah.
we talked often about, like, I know it's Janda. I think that's the color
Randy,
analyst
yeah.
on the radio side. I think that's always been the way that they're going to pull it, right? They go from radio to Sportsnet, or radio to local telecast, and local telecast to like CBC, right?
Right.
So
The natural
but
progression.
I like Jenna a lot. I think he brings like a little extra something to the role, and especially from a visual standpoint, when you're like listening to him on the radio to try to understand exactly what's going on. I think he's really good.
Yeah.
But my buddy and I were talking. We were talking about the fact that, like, I think it's one of the things that made Garrett so good was that, like, understanding of a player and what's happening through experience on the ice, right? So
Right.
do you think that they need a player? Like, I know obviously Ray Ferraro is a beauty. I mean, his wife works in the organization. Maybe it could be Ferraro that takes it over. You know, he doesn't want to travel a whole ton anymore.
That'd be
Corrado
interesting.
was another guy that we talked about. I mean, there's a real chance here, I think, for really cool either opportunity or for professionalism to come up and take that spot on. But
so that's a good question. That's a really good question. What if, and I don't know how they would do this, but and maybe this is just stupid. Would a guy like Kevin Bieksa take a job like that?
I mean, isn't it a step
or is
down
he
for
like
me?
so up there that like that's the job? I'm not going to slum it.
I feel like it's a step down for a guy like Juice. I don't know. I mean, I
But
think
what
he
if he
lives
just
out
did
east.
that during the week? What if
I
he
mean,
just and then was on hockey night? I don't know.
I love that. Yeah,
I don't
that's
know
what
if
you
it's
want,
doable.
right? You want somebody who has that insight
Yeah.
of what's going on the bench, and even that's why when you were watching like McGuire
Yeah.
do his in between the benches thing along with Ferraro, that's why Ferraro's stuff always sounded so much better, right? I mean, it was just this deeper understanding of how the players reacted to one
Dude, I
another.
could have said something after Pierre McGuire, and I'm probably going to have a little bit
Oh,
more.
what a monster!
So I mean, Ray Ferraro's because he's with ESPN now, right? I think.
Yeah, I think did he not step down from a bigger role
Yeah, maybe.
before so that he could do something a little lighter? And I think
That-
that's why he does a lot of local Vancouver stuff. He's in this town a lot.
right.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting. That would be interesting. I think he would be more than welcome. And then that kind of gives everybody the, when they said, oh, he should be the GM and blah, blah, blah. That's a nice thing because now you're still talking the Canucks all the time. He's back into the market full time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Who knows what those guys, like what their career aspirations are. Like how much more do they want to do? Do they want to keep growing? I mean, obviously he's taken on a smaller role now so that he can
What about Mike Gillis?
live a better family life. I like Mike Gillis. I don't know how good of a color guy Gillis would be.
Probably awful.
He's pretty
Yeah, I don't know,
wallpaper.
John.
So.
Yeah, I don't know, John. Like it's
Yeah, like who got a stick on that? I don't know. I don't exactly want to tip my hand as to who I thought got the stick on it. That's something that's just going to have to sort itself out over time.
yeah.
It's 3 seconds. It looks like it was Miller. Yeah, it was Miller.
I don't know if Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes are elite. Whoa. You've already played that card with the Sedins like 10 years ago. We get it.
Yep.
We get it. So
And it works.
Mike Gillis is probably not the guy. Probably not the guy. So you heard the pressers, I'm assuming, yes?
I mean, I caught the Coles notes from the pressers.
Okay, that's
I think this is one that I probably could have listened to. I think we've gotten into like this bit of
it wasn't
a habit.
An email.
Yeah, we've gotten into a bit of a habit to not. I haven't been watching the pressers because I'm just like I was sick and tired of listening to Jim Benning talk. Right.
Wow.
So and then I found out that that new Jim wasn't going to be on this presser either, and I was like, well, then there's not going to be anything to say because old Blabby Mouth over there is not going to be the runner of the pressers. So and apparently I was right. So I mean, there wasn't a whole lot that came out of Alvin, except for I think we got the impression that they're not 100. They're not 100 on this roster, right? I mean, I think there's work to be done. The big things, I think, the takeaways. I mean, that all the pods and all the articles are talking about this fact that Alvin didn't like foresee a buyout,
right?
But even the way he said it was sort of ominous. Like we're not planning on using them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And that was kind of the interesting thing. That's right. Like I kept looking at that and I wanted to make that a talking point. And I thought like, okay, well, yeah, they said they're not using buyouts. And then I listened to a couple other podcasts since then and just tried to take in how they took it, what the Drances and the Van Cass and the Canucks conversation, because everybody's got a different take on these things, right? And then you hear that same press clip and then you start trying to figure it out for yourself. Yeah, I don't think they plan on using a buyout, and we'll talk about OEL for a second. But at the same time, everything has its moment. I don't think anybody believed that they were going to trade away that first either for Filip Hronek, right? So, I mean, just when you think, okay, all right, and then they go and do that. So
in a vacuum, like very reminiscent of the Miller trade.
Yeah.
Right. When that happened, I think there's a lot of comparisons about how ready the team was to receive a player like Miller and where this team sits when they receive a player like Hronek. And I think I love the guy. I think he's great. I mean, he's just instantly slot in as the team's second best defenseman just instantly. And everybody knows through 4 games, but like,
yeah,
it sort of signals that this team has to compete now. But I think,
Mhm.
like we've been saying, and like everybody's probably been saying for this last course of the year, like, but how?
Yeah.
How? I mean, we're
And how? Dot
but
dot
like,
dot.
but you're still handcuffed. Like, I don't. Why?
So,
Why are you trying to pick fights with people when you have like one arm tied behind your back?
and we'll get into Besser too in a second, but like OEL didn't have a very healthy year. So,
It's terrible.
you know how we always see, I mean, Tyler Myers is a whole other thing as well. But you know how we always see these guys and then we find out that they're dealing with stuff that you're like, "Oh, well, it's only this." And then like you've played through knee injuries and you know what rehab looks like. You're not exactly yourself when you're coming back from stuff like that, right? Like
No.
you're not 100%, you're not even 80%. Like it took Kevin Bieksa what, a season and a half to get back to just like basically everyday NHL shape after the Achilles, right?
I mean,
After I got severed, like that's tough. And we're dogging him. Oh, how come he's not doing this? Or Ryan Kessler was another one, or you know, Bertuzzi coming back from back surgery, or there's so many of these stories, and I think even the guys that kind of suck still can hold it, I think, if they were completely healthy. And maybe he's not. And maybe he comes back healthy and he's just absolute
well,
garbage.
he's not healthy. Obviously, he's got an ankle issue, right? I mean, he was so slow during the start of this year, but it makes you wonder if there was something more to what was going on.
But how do
Like,
you go
you're
from
saying.
having a good season to sucking so bad?
Well, can we
He had a
call
good
it?
season last year.
He had good defensive numbers. I don't
It
know if we
didn't,
call it a good season. Good by whose standards? Good by OEL standards?
but if you could have taken last season and swapped it with this season,
Sure, like this team would have been 5 or 6 games further above 500.
which Patrick Alvin believes in as a playoff team. You know,
Well,
no, he said he's like, we're only like 5 or 6 games away from the playoffs. Technically, that is true.
I
Those
think
are statistical truths.
he's
That's
probably
okay.
right. I think, yeah, a healthy Demko and an OEL defensive season akin to last year.
Yeah,
This is probably a playoff team.
not a good one, but a playoff team.
I mean, it's like a bubble team. I hate saying that, but yeah.
Yeah. One day we'll
So
get rid of that word.
yeah, like we're in a spot. Going back to the injuries thing, like yeah, like getting back to 100% is, it's only just getting back to being able to play again, right? I
Mhm.
mean, you're still way behind the 8 ball. Like
You're
when I
not
think
beating
about like,
guys.
yeah, like when I think about my injury, right? Like they're saying like, it's going to be 2 months before you're back in the gym, right? And then it's going to be 6 months probably until you're back to day zero, right? Day zero being like the day that I went into the gym, or the day that I went into surgery,
Right.
because you atrophy so much over time, right? And then it's going to be 8 months until you're back to where you were, like competition shape or something like that. That's a long time,
So
right? And then
wait. Are you telling me you're not gonna be in our playoffs?
like to play ball,
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Just checking.
It depends on. I mean, they said that your all the bones are supposed to heal, be close to like 98% by the end of the third month.
If you can hit for singles, we'll run for you. It's fine.
Well, I won't have any power left. That's all gone.
Okay. We'll have to have a chat after the show.
Yeah, but like, yeah, it'll be different. We'll see. But just to stay on that quick injury thing, right? I think that was like why it was so important for the team to shut down Mikheyev when they shut Mikheyev down,
Right.
and to shut down Hronik when they shut Hronik down, because they're going to have to need that time. Even though Hronik was good enough to play, and this is a playoff team, and we were heading into the playoffs, he would have played,
Yeah.
right? I think that gives him that bigger landing strip, that bigger runway to become closer to what his 100 was prior to getting hurt. And same with Mikheyev. Did you know Mikheyev was as good as he was playing on one MCL or ACL? I don't know what it was.
He was crazy. Like
I
he
mean,
was effective. He was contributing.
we didn't even have Burner Mikheyev yet.
And he actually did some burner things.
Yeah. So, and again, like that's a mid-season shutdown. If that's an end of season shutdown, we're looking
Yeah.
at like mid-season next year
Yeah.
before we finally start to see real Mikheyev, if we haven't shit all over him by then
Kind
for
of
not playing
interesting.
like we wanted him to.
Kind of interesting when you look at the injury history on this team the last couple years. the doctor situation. Obviously, Tanner Pearson,
That's
Tucker Poolman. There's guys we haven't even chatted about in months, and yet
yeah, like
some of these are coming up now, right? So it's smart that they got the calls that they did, that they shut down the guys when they did, and they probably realized that they were trending again, optically, we're trending in a different direction on the injury front. So to shut down the guys, maybe these are those little healing things as far as the team, like, okay, we need to get ahead of this because we haven't been doing this.
I haven't heard much about, like, I mean, what's Poolman played? He's played under 10 games in the last 2 seasons, I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't know the real number. It's not a big
It's
number.
not good. It's not good.
Head issues. Ferland, same thing. Ferland had issues prior to coming in.
And I forgot about Ferland too, right? Brandon Sutter for long COVID.
Yeah. So that's all like no end in sight stuff, right? Like one day you may be good enough to play again if you have a head issue, but we don't know, right? You can't really attach a timeline to that. It's not like a broken arm or something like that. And I don't know what Tanner Pearson's exact injury was, but
hand something.
7 to 8 surgeries is 7 to 8 surgeries too many. So some quality of life stuff there. So whatever the issue was, like, you hope that it got sorted out, both from like a player standpoint and from a quality of life standpoint for the people under care right now. But yeah, pretty ugly situation.
Best player. Don't want what best has been able to do. Looks like I'm about to cut out on my feed for some random reason. But at the same time, we have a guy. Basically didn't say, like, he basically said, no, well, I know it's great Brock wants to be here, but if we got to make moves, we got to make moves. But he didn't really say that, but he said that.
Yeah, like, I don't think the team wants to cut Brock Besser loose, even though I think it's pretty obvious that after all this time he's been miscast. Like, he's not the sniper that we all thought he was. He's just not that player, right? I mean, whether that came from a myriad of wrist injuries or not, yeah, but he's not anymore, right? I mean, but he got paid based on the fact that he was a sniper, right? So, but he hadn't put those numbers up for a long, long time, and I think all the wrist injuries obviously played a key in that. He's probably, although not this season, he's a better defensive player than he was to start. I think that you can still, I've said this all along, the play can still flow through them. He's still a smart, intelligent guy. He's a bigger winger, which helps, even though he's not super physical. And and I don't think the team wants to get rid of him, right? But what choice do they have? It doesn't have to be Besser, I suppose, but that's a pretty big payday that he's getting. Anytime a guy's making 6.5 plus and he's good for 55 points on the season, there's some issues there, right? I mean, you're hoping that you can see a guy like Beauvillier eclipse the 40 point and 50 point plateau sitting on a $4 million payday, right? I mean, you have a guy like Connor Garland who's actually done it before and has been kind of miscast in this team for a role that he's playing on. I mean, he was sort of driving his line, which so many people have talked about. I think he's unfairly criticized in this market for a lot of reasons, because stylistically, he's not the player that Canucks fans just generally like and care about. But these guys making the fours, and then you've got a guy like Brock who marginally impacts the game more and makes a significant amount of more money. So if it's one of those other guys that they tend to move, and I don't really think they want to move Beauvillier, but if the other guy's Connor Garland, and I still think that Connor Garland is worth a decent chip in a trade, I think it's possible that they could get away with just moving one of them
in season or before, or do you think it all happens before the season?
I think it has to happen before. I think you got to have that clarity in roster, and I just think that from a cash perspective, it's Brock just makes the most sense. I mean, if you can somehow find a way to get any kind of value for a guy like Besser, and figure out a way to remove Tyler Myers from your roster. Myers has to happen after the season starts, essentially.
Well, after a signing bonus, I think.
After the signing bonus, sorry.
Yeah.
Which is going to be difficult because guys, I think that interacts with free agency, and people are going to go make moves in free agency. And, are they planning on taking on a guy like Myers? What if the guys, the teams that maybe fit the types of teams that Tyler Myers would be good for have gone in and solved those issues in free agency? That's going to be more difficult for them to trade with those guys.
Yeah.
I think there's generally teams out there that could take on a Tyler Myers just from like a ceiling floor perspective in terms of roster allocation and cap money. But those are the two guys. I think if you can move those, then somehow you free up more money to sort of free this roster and maybe untie one of those hands that's proverbially stuck behind their back right now.
And maybe then you just ride it out with OEL for the time being until, again, maybe his play, I'm not saying improves.
What else do you do with him?
Well, exactly. You can't just, torpedo him off the roster. And as Patrick said, what happens when we start contending and we still have this little problem sitting on the back burner when they are about to contend, and now we're stuck with $3 million in dead cap.
Just like
we've seen so much dead cap for so long, or recapture or whatever that penalty is, or that buyout or whatever. It would be nice to just suffer through one finally, or bury him or whatever.
Like we wanted it to happen with, I know you, me, and Brady were all talking when this trade went down about how much better this team is with OEL on it, but it was like we should have never made that trade. Like, just hang on a little bit longer. Like, and you can just watch Louis Eriksson walk out the door, and that's like a sell high, right?
And that was different management, though.
Just double down, and it was just like now this team is. I don't see a way at all that Vancouver gets out from under this contract, and you're not going to wish a scenario like an injury or something like that on a guy like OEL where he has to retire, because you don't want to say that on a human being. Maybe it's like a Johan Franzen thing where he just can't really play anymore, and I'm injured, so he gets the remainder of his money covered in insurance and that
Mark
type
Savard.
of thing. Maybe that happens. I don't know. Mark Savard, same thing.
I mean, he was technically injured, but yeah.
But man, I don't know. Like, that's just an awful contract to try to get from under, and they can't continue.
What if
to
you
play
traded half of it?
Role.
What if you traded 50% of his dollars in cap hit for the rest of his contract? 50%. So instead of those the dead cap and the crazy cap space, because it inflates after a few years, right? Mm-hmm. What if you just say, all right, well, we'll pay half. We get rid of them, and when the contract's done, the contract's done.
Yeah, I think they would like to do that, but they'd like to do that and not sacrifice. They don't even have high-end prospects right now. I mean, their number one prospect is Aatu Räty, and he was brought in from another team who drafted him in the second round later than Danila Klimovic.
So 4 years you got OEL left.
Like that's your best. Are you going to move your best prospect and a first round draft pick to another team to take on this kind of money? Like, they don't want to do that either. Like, the cupboards are bare, right? They already don't have a bunch of picks left.
Yeah.
They did acquire an additional first round draft pick. Anybody who's worth value on this roster is part of this core and can't be traded.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that anybody who's on this team right now and who is part of the core makes too much money to just throw in a trade that involves OEL. So they're gonna have to play him. Like, they're just gonna have to play him,
or they're gonna have to down a la what's his Sheldon Surrey.
You can't just. I don't think you can just. He's got a full no move. You can't send him down.
You can't send him at all. Okay.
You can't send him down. I mean, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't. You can't send him down. He's got a no move clause. He is yours.
Could you not just sit him?
It was the dumbest. Yeah, you could do that, but that's $8+ million sitting on a scratch.
Then you get creative.
I think they got creative, and I think that chip has now been used. I mean, the got creative was Kuzmenko.
Yeah,
that was great. I mean,
but maybe you have
to, now they have. You're gonna find lightning in a bottle twice. Now you can find another Kuzmenko for $800,000 that's going to score you close to 40 goals.
Maybe you need to trade OEL and Besser. together.
The only thing that they can hope for is that it's if everything goes right for them, somehow Akito Hirose breaks camp and shows that he's a top 4 defenseman, pulls a Chris Tanev, who Tanev didn't even break camp as a top 4 defenseman. Tanev had to go back to the minors and play in the
Different
minors.
NHL though too.
True, a very different NHL. So if the only thing that they can hope for is Akito Hirose breaks camp, proves that he's a top 4 defenseman, logs top 4 minutes, shows the availability to put OEL on the bench. Then if he's making, $850,000 a year, OEL's making 8.5.
Yeah.
Now you can sort of divide his number in half and be like, okay, both guys theoretically are making 4.5 or 5 mil.
Yeah.
Based on those numbers. And then you can sort of feel a little bit better about it. But like, it's got to be like the Kuzmenko thing. Like, you have to have a guy playing, in this case, like top 6 minutes for your forward core, but that equivalent has to happen on the D4. So somebody's got to be playing top 4 minutes, making $750,000, $850,000 a year. Like, good luck. I hope it happens. Don't get me wrong, but like, good luck.
I think it could happen. I believe
that's not a good plan. I believe and I think and I hope is not really a plan.
It's gonna happen. Have you been following along with my fake Seinfeld?
I've seen a couple, but I honestly haven't been.
So that hurts. That's fine.
I'm a bad friend. I'm sorry.
You are a bad friend. You were a Seinfeld fan though, right? Mm-hmm. That was in your jam.
Mm-hmm.
So
I appreciate it much more as an adult, though.
Oh yeah. So because it's on like every night on
every channel.
Yeah, like at 9:30 or whatever.
Come on.
Yeah. Sorry. So I've had all like these episode ideas in my head for like months. And I just decided some of these are all brand new, so it is getting a little bit.
I don't think they're still looking for writers though.
I don't think so, but I keep sending these to Jerry, hoping that they like do a Netflix. You know what I mean? Like a one-off, like a Curb Your Enthusiasm, like they do one season of like 12 episodes, because it has so much potential with everything that's gone on since then. There's been so many great stories that I think because like technology's changed, cars have changed, food's changed, presidents, baseball teams, like New York's changed, right? And I think there's so many great storylines that could be done. I've got a wicked one for tomorrow. I try to write like 2 so that
if it was now, like George's wife would have never died by licking all those wedding invitations because it just would have been sent electronically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I haven't thought of that. That's good. That's good. So anyway, I suggest everybody check. It's gone over really well. There's been a few people. At Chewbacca has been a big fan of these. I'm gonna pull her up for a second. I do appreciate, because it's, you know what, like my main thing, it was more, as you know, for a lot of these things when I do them, they're mostly for me.
Yeah.
And like, you know what I mean? Like when we've done like our ball markers or any of the golf random stuff, or even changing our logo, like sometimes it's just like, I need it for me because like I want to do something fun and cool randomly. And you're like, all right, have at it, go nuts. I support you, but whatever, it's good. So when I do this and I see other people, they're like, oh, these are so great, and I just, not to toot my horn, but I'm like, okay, that motivates me to do another one. And then now I start thinking like, how stupid would they be thinking if these shows were going on? Because it's just some of the stupidest things. Like I did an early one, like George convinces Aaron Judge to hold out. So he says walk instead of like trying to hit dingers. And like just like the uniform thing, right? Like, oh yeah, Aaron Judge. They're like, no, Aaron Judge's been holding out and the Mets signed him. Oh no, that backfire. You know what I mean? Like just the obvious stuff. So kind of fun. And I also joined TikTok. Are you on TikTok?
I'm not a TikToker. No.
I didn't think I was, but here I am.
It's very Ryan. It's very Ryan.
I haven't done a whole lot on it because I joined it and then it wouldn't allow me to follow anybody for like a week. Like I could follow 100 people and then I'd go back to the next like side screen and it was like nothing happened. And then it just fixed itself. So I came back. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's stuff. It's stuff. Let's get into.
I TikTok now.
Do you?
Yeah, I TikTok.
Oh, that's right.
With my Valve, yeah.
See, I made that joke, and not everybody kind of like It's funny. I said I'm on the clock app now, so that's good. I have a question. So we've talked about some fun stuff about the Canucks so far, and we'll get into Abby in a second. Here, hands where we can see them. Hands where we can see them. This is a family. It's actually not a family show. Do you think that the circus is over?
I guess that depends on JT Miller. It probably depends on JT Miller and Elias Pettersson. If Pettersson's contract drags out at all next year, then no, circus isn't over.
Okay.
If trade rumors begin to run rampant because there's fire, because there's smoke on JT Miller, then no.
Okay.
Until that 100% gets squashed, like until management squashes the whole like, fuck off, we're not trading JT Miller.
And you know it's wild. It's almost like you're thinking like, well, if they re-sign him, like they did.
They did.
That chip has already been played.
Well, they're just so like. I think what will alleviate the all these requests for JT Miller is if they're able to move big money off of the cap, right? If they are able to move off of Myers and Besser, say, we'll just throw those two names out.
Sure.
If they're able to move Myers and Besser, if they're able to move Garland and Myers, right? I mean, that's going to free up a big chunk of money. And then all of a sudden, the other big trade chip that is a big amount of money that will contribute to moving a huge amount of money off this roster for next year is JT Miller. That question won't happen anymore because it's been dealt with to a certain extent, right? Like, you also have to think about if one of the priorities is re-signing Elias Pettersson, like how inclined is he going to be to want to sign here if one of his top running mates' relationship that people talk about aside? Like, what kind of message are you sending to a guy like Pettersson if you're trading away a guy like JT Miller, who's capable of putting up between 82 to 99 points in a year, and you just signed him to a contract? Like, even before it kicked in, we dealt you.
Where's the loyalty?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're trying to convince a big time player like Pettersson that you want him to be here for the long run, I think you also have to tell him that he's got toys, right?
I think they keep JT. I think
so too.
I think they're finally done pissing around. I do think that they're going to find a way. I don't know who's going to get moved. One of the usual suspects for sure. But I do believe if they believe that they need to make whatever run that they're hoping to make at some point, it will be JT Miller. It will be Quinn Hughes. It will be Elias Pettersson. It'll be Thatcher Demko. And I think realistically, I mean, the next guy is probably Kuzmenko, right? I mean, he is a lot to this team already.
Mm-hmm. Once they trust him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And I think that'll come. I think that's new coach, and he's probably testing him too, just to see where he's at. And I mean, some of it, again, it's not a season that they needed to prove anything. So,
yeah, this is probably the season when you can pull shit like that.
Yeah. And it's not at him. I think it's just more of maybe
I think it is.
You think so?
I think he's fucking around on days off. Yeah.
Maybe he is. And I mean, he seems to be a pretty fun, happy guy. So yeah, maybe he is a little bit more loose than he should be. And Talkett brought that up in the press conference where guys need to show up and be ready to play. Because maybe this is the guy that's gonna, I mean, at least bring them back to, where Lane Vigneault got them.
The Kuzmenko thing wasn't the Obi thing, right? It was Obi and Vigneault, right? I mean, shit, his whole friggin' podcast is named after the fact that he missed curfew, right? I mean, it was Obi on a day off on a Wednesday, walking around town, shaking hands and kissing babies, and then finds the Roxy, and then doesn't make it to Thursday morning practice or is late, and then has to have the conversation with Coach V. Yeah. Like that, it's not that, right? I mean, he probably has unwritten expectations from a guy like Talkett that he's not hitting. Maybe he's out there having a little bit too much fun on what they're going to call as your day off, but it's more actually, we want you to treat it more like a maintenance day.
Yeah.
And you already come to the NHL, and you're sort of what kind of shape you are in is somewhat been questioned as well.
And I think the success is there too, right? I mean, guy puts up just shy of 40 goals, so it's not like he can't dominate in the NHL. He's going to.
If this is out of shape Kuzmenko,
Yeah, watch out.
I mean, maybe he scores 39 next year because he's twice the player he was now, but his shooting percentage isn't like 38%.
Yeah.
Ridiculous shooting percent. I don't know how
Yeah.
he's going to do this again, but yeah.
Well, maybe he's just more of a playmaker next year. He just
He's
carries
just
off of Patterson.
Danglesaurus Rex.
I think I think it was a testing thing. Because
Yeah.
there's no way as a coach, like you look like, geez, I mean, I got to make sure that this guy understands.
That was a really good shift. Like now I got to find something completely different to shit on him for.
Right? But
That's what it felt like. Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do? You can, like, he comes in there, this prized possession, this new toy, and he does everything we hoped he would do. And a little bit more, I think.
It's not a mid-season contract. They re-upped him mid-season.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anyone realistically, we expected, I think a lot of people had him, 20, 25 goals, maybe?
Yeah, well, I think we talked about it, and I think like we knocked it out of the park. If we can get 25 goals, 25 assists, or like 20 and 30, we're looking for 50 points here, right?
He just about did on the goal side alone.
He just about popped 40 goals. Like that's a player. This guy's a gamer.
Yeah,
for sure.
And
this wasn't who was the guy that Dallas signed? The great white hype that came out of Sweden.
Like a hat trick. Emil
Fabian Brunstrom.
Or Fabian Brunstrom. That's right.
Yeah.
What did I say, Emil?
This wasn't a Fabian Brunstrom, right? I mean,
yeah.
This is a legit player, right? I mean, this is a fairly intelligent management team when it comes to contracts, and they felt that re-upping him mid-season was a priority. So, yeah, the guy can play.
Interesting. It's interesting. So you're thinking Circus stops based on mainly two things: the hushing of the JT Miller and signing PD.
Yeah, and I think that's part and parcel. Like the Miller thing goes away if the team says like fuck off, or they manage to free up some roster, like some cap space.
Right.
PD thing, if this drags on into mid-season and Pettersson's not locked up, like could get ugly in a hurry.
That's a problem.
Yeah. Then we're treading into Calgary Flames territory.
Oh.
And you're talking about a guy like, I don't even want to go there. It would be ugly. I'm confident that they're going to get it done, but
you see this?
Ooh, I feel like you're putting bad juju on that, just like fake Selly.
No, this is for all the teams that are in there. Stanley Cup shot glass. So go Seattle. I don't know what the score is at right now. Seattle won a playoff game against Colorado. It was tied when we started the show. Colorado potted like 2 in like 38 or 48 seconds.
Did you see the Brandon Tanev celebration after his goal?
Avs won.
Oh shit.
Sorry to ruin that for anybody that's listening, but
it doesn't take away from Tanev's celly. He scored, scores into a gaping net, skates around to the wall. Big Avs fan sitting there right at the glass. And he's
I did see that guy. That's right. That's what that was about. I only saw like the end part of that. So
beauty.
That's great though. Good for.
I can't remember whose tweet it was like, this celly better be in NHL 24.
I won't play it. I don't even have time for the one. I don't even know which one I have right now. 22, I think.
Aren't you still playing like 2017?
No, I got rid of that.
Yeah, doesn't still Bertuzzi on the roster?
That's on the. That's the PS3 upstairs. This is the PS4 downstairs. Said I've adulted more downstairs, so I know it's fine. I'll let you pass on it. So Circus, we got that. This was something I heard on I don't know if I heard it on a podcast or whatever. The talk about Damon Severson. If New Jersey doesn't go and make that happen, might we see a Damon Severson sighting in Vancouver soon?
Yeah. How though? Like what? Again, like
he's a UFA.
I think he fits. Can you entice a Damon Severson? I mean, they can barely. They're gonna have a hard time re-signing Ethan Bear.
Yeah.
Like, how are they going to get Damon Severson? That guy's going to command some money, right? Unless you get one of these guys that comes over on a sweetheart deal, and good luck. I think that being a right-handed defenseman. I think we're destined to see. I think we're destined to see guys like Noah Juleson and Jet Wu, and who else is a righty now? Oh, Kyle Burrows. Like Burrows isn't re-signed yet, and I guess neither is Juleson. But I think those are the types of guys that we're going to be looking at for like a bottom.
So we're pennies on the dollar on that portion.
A bottom pair right-hand D. Like they're Ryan. They don't even have an active plan for how they're going to re-sign Ethan Bear right now.
Okay. So
like how do they get? I love Damon Severson. I think Damon Severson would like to come play for Vancouver. I think Vancouver would like to have Damon Severson come here. But we don't have any money.
That. I think
I would love a brand new Toyota Tacoma, and I think one would like to be parked in my driveway.
I don't have the money.
I can't afford one.
Yeah. Wow. That was clever.
It's a great truck. I mean, it fits me perfectly. It's the one for me.
It's
can't afford it.
The height, everything. I love the fit. I love the drivetrain. It's great.
It's great. Fantastic warranty.
I don't have the money to buy one. That's great.
That's my analogies. I don't know. That's like, I love analogies.
You know what? That's great. It's too bad that we're not actually sponsored by the Canucks or Toyota like the Canucks are. That would have been a great commercial, hey?
Yeah, it would have been like the classic, like, who's the Mercedes dealership that does all the lame commercials for the Canucks?
Or Kitsilano Audi or whatever.
Is it Kitsilano Audi? Yeah, Kitsilano Audi and like
I'm Danila Klimovich. How the heck did you get this?
I think they're still rolling the Alex Burmistrov commercial, right? Like he was gone by like November in Vancouver. Just great.
I love my new Toyota Tacoma. Now, hear me out. It's actually not mine. I'm just driving in this commercial. I can't afford this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm Ethan Bear. It would be funny.
I don't. This is not my Audi. I actually drive like a '96 Volkswagen.
Yeah, I think it's so funny how they had to pivot and who they put in those commercials. Like you didn't really sign those two guys to the commercial, did you? Yeah,
that's like who they could get.
I am Connor Garland, and this is my brand new Hyundai. Yeah. Why are we giving? Hi, I'm Philip Di-Giuseppe. Like no. No, we like him.
I mean, shit. What if PGD, DG? Does he make that guy like made some serious progress at the end of the year?
I think he
seems to love him.
He might even, he may not be a mainstay. He's pretty
gonna
close.
Be a fixture. I think that guy is going to be on the roster all year next year.
So, are we going to call it here then? Philip Di-Giuseppe is going to be one of the next Vancouver Canucks car spokesman.
So for the first time in a long time, which I feel like doesn't make any sense at all. For the first time in a long time, I feel like really good about Vancouver's fourth line.
Isn't that?
I think Nils Åman is like a budding NHL.
We felt good about it last year though too.
Right? Did we?
Yeah, we did.
Like it was fun, but it wasn't really a good fourth. What have we got? Like Highmore.
It was a pretty good fourth line last year.
Who else was on the fourth line? You remember?
I can't remember the names, but
I don't remember, but they were good.
Yeah, it's like that Toyota Tacoma.
I don't. It was good though.
Hey, like I watch all the games. Name the 72 Canucks. I bet you can't do it. So
maybe not.
Yeah, I know I can't. Yeah, Highmore was there.
You got Tanty, you got Schneps, you got
what? That was in the 80s, you dummy.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe Sundstrom.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Here, 2022?
It was like Yuri Bubala.
2022 Canucks, or is it 2021 Canucks?
It'd be probably 2022. 2021, 22.
21. Roster.
It was like Highmore, like versions of Will Lockwood. Mott was on there for a while before they finally traded him.
21, 22. What year are we? 2023 now. Alex Chason.
I can't remember who the center
Juho
was.
Lammikko.
Juho
Lammikko.
He was the center.
Tyler Mott. Jason Dickinson. We had Brad Richardson. Oh, that was at the
they traded for him. Bad Richardson.
Yeah. Who else we have here?
That's just it, though, right? I mean, it was a
Haley Lockwood. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was good, but it wasn't It wasn't Nils Åman. It wasn't PDG.
Yeah, Lammikko was the guy that they got in trade that didn't get qualified. Didn't bring him back. Highmar, they just let him expire. Lockwood, they traded for, essentially worked out to Kravtsov and a 7th round draft pick like in 4 years from now.
That's going to come up big. Don't you worry.
It's a busted prospect that we weren't going to re-sign. Not busted. I mean, he's fine. There's nothing wrong with Will Lockwood. But
man, you're hard on this team.
Like, I mean, Mott was the one guy. What did we get for Mott? 3rd rounder?
I think so.
One guy on that line. So Highmore's still in the league. Lamico's not. Mott's been a shadow of his former self.
He needs to come back. Just kidding.
We
don't need him.
If they had brought that line back, I don't think we'd be very. I'm much happier now with the 4th line, the way it's structured with DiGiuseppe, who moves up and down the lineup. Dakota Joshua, who moves up and down the lineup.
He moves up and down your face with his fist. That's for sure.
Yeah, and then you have Oman, who like has next to nothing to offer offensively, but maybe he can grow into his role a little bit. He's fast. He hits. He's smart defensively. He wins faceoffs at a decent enough percentage that you can improve on it. Guy plays on your penalty kill. This is a decent 4th line. I think if they don't improve on Nils Oman, I'd be happy with the way the 4th line sits right now.
So he's kind of like when you say someone's a defensive defenseman. He's like, I'm a defensive offenseman. Like, what does that mean? It's like, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm offensively defensive.
Yeah. What exactly do you do? I don't even know.
That could be my next Twitter handle, offensively defensive.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's good. That's clever. That's well done. Speaking of winning stuff, it wasn't me this time, by the way. So our good friends, Jason Kitty at Player's Choice, they reopened, or they grand opening of their new shop. And have you? I mean, you haven't even been.
I haven't been in there. No.
Have you?
I was there like on the last days of the old one.
Okay, so the new place, absolutely huge, like 3,000 plus square feet.
Yeah, they took over Sports Excellence spot, right?
Yeah, they did. That's a whole other story. Local controversy. No, it's not that bad. Anyway, shop opens, grand opening last weekend. Absolutely amazing. Tons of stuff in there. It's huge. They've got like a little man cave area as well, like all these memorabilia pieces. There's like a cool 1-of-1 Gretzky like painting. Really, really cool. They had some other stuff in there too. Anyway, so usually on National Hockey Card Day, they do a big scavenger hunt, right? So you go around the store and you do the scavenger hunt, fill out your thing, and then enter to win some prizes. Well, one of my 2 humans won a pretty awesome prize. So 15 people won. Kinsey, our youngest, ended up winning. I helped her out a little bit, but she did pretty good because she knew where more things were than I was. And she ended up winning what turns out we found out was the grand prize. It is, what do they call it? The rookie showcase. So after all the rookies got drafted, they do like a scrimmage for like cards and stuff. So it is a team picture of all the rookies from this past season, all sitting at wherever that place is. I'm assuming in Ontario, somewhere Toronto. Anyway, and it's got like a matted border around it, and it's signed by every single rookie.
Holy.
Framed print, yeah. I'm looking. Wow. Where's the Canucks? And oh, right, we didn't draft one last year, so a little bit of a little soft spot there. But yeah, so that'll be in the family cave, as we're told.
They didn't invite Elias Pettersson.
I think I'm gonna just get a picture of Quinn Hughes and stick it on there. It's like, why is he? It's not even signed. Listen, I need a Canuck. Maybe we'll put in who was our last first rounder? Podkolzin?
I don't. Maybe no. Couldn't have been Podkolzin. Oh, Likaramaki.
Right.
Yeah.
So I got to find a picture of him and stick it on there.
Jonathan Likaramaki. Yeah.
Yeah. He looks like a Lakamaki.
Who's having a good end to his season right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our boy Chris Faber covering all of the prospects and what they're doing right now. Obviously, he had a tough go. Injured, mono, lots of development stuff, like not good news, right? For a guy that's in a really good development year.
He's sticking it out.
I think his year's done. He comes back for the playoffs and he's like, what is he, 7 points in 8 games or 6 and 7 or something like that? Like he's playing really well. Yeah, on the first line too. So you needed that for sure. And like he's ripping shots past goalies. So
there may be hope for this team yet. I'm excited for next season with the whole Willanen and I mean, who knows what else? Maybe Deaky Pete comes over. Deaky Pete from Sweden.
DPD.
Yeah,
I
DP
think the plan is for him to play one more season.
or one more year.
Yeah, one more.
So there's a lot to be excited about, I think, despite all the crazy stuff that's going on with the Canucks. But
yeah,
that's for another episode. I'm sure we'll have to talk about.
I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? When you know your prospect cupboard needs work, when the fan base is that excited about a third rounder signing and a seventh rounder and McDonough signing, and
But it's not always those first rounders though anymore. Like
it's not. But those are higher percentage lottery tickets. I think that's the
for
difference.
sure. But they've hit on a lot of these free agents, the Cole McWards of the world. They've hit on a lot of these guys that are definitely lower down depth charts, and they've also hit on these college free agents and overseas signings. So
yeah, and if they had a bunch of good draft picks, like that, they would have selected players, and then maybe those players would have been less likely to sign here. So it's just a blessing.
I miss you so much. Oh, I miss you so much. This has been fun.
Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed. Yeah, you know things are going well. Like, hey, yeah, like guys, clock's ticking. Actually, that's just my heart. So you mean we can still keep going? No, we should still get going pretty soon. Good to have you back, man.
Yeah, good to be back.
This has been a lot of fun. It was fun with all the other guests I had because there's some of them way more entertaining than you are.
I bet.
And more entertaining than me, which also scared me a bit because I felt that the show could easily be obsolete with some other people hosting it. But maybe we could just sell the rights.
Yeah, that would.
You guys want to take over a podcast? $50,000. You get all the rights. I'll give you all the login.
Crispy high five. That's what they'd offer up instead. I feel like
$5 or a literal.
We might have to give them first round draft picks to make that trade.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Maybe we'll
deal. Take on roster contract space. Yeah.
Maybe we'll just keep it around for another season, or buy it at 50% or something.
Probably just continue to grow it. Yeah.
We'll get someone else to do our taxes. That's fine. On behalf of Ted and Ryan, this is the PP1 podcast. We're on Crier Media. Have a good listen on this one because Ted's back, and that alone is worth a listen. So happy to have you. I love you, man. Go Canucks, go Seattle, go NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, go.